have you been? I'm back. People have been asking where I have been, and so I am ready. Welcome to my tell-all 6 months disappearance where I have been. I have fallen off of the YouTube earth and I am here finally to return. I have missed you guys, but I'm gonna spill the beans. If you're new here, I am Dani. I am a mom of 2. I'm a creative, I'm an artist, but I'm also the owner of Soft Up Shop, which is a small big business. We're an online business that sells gifts and stationery that is infused with all things whimsy and Caribbean culture, right? My family is from Jamaica, and so Soft Up Shop is sort of my nod to my culture, but done in a sort of whimsical, fun, creative way. And so this platform was really just a space that enabled me to share the ups and downs of being a first-time entrepreneur, right? Not knowing all the things that I didn't know, but then literally being very transparent about the ups and downs of what it takes to try and run a small business in 2026, especially something that is creative, that is product-based, but that is also niche as well. This became a space to sort of like be held accountable, but also disseminate knowledge, share, grow with other artists, small businesses, moms that were trying to find a different way. Anyway, so where I've been. I think you guys if I look at my YouTube channel, I think the last video that I posted was in June of 2025. And 2 things happened. Number 1, I found out that I was pregnant. I was prepping for a half marathon, and I think I had visited my sister in Montreal, and I tried to do my run in Montreal. It was too hot. I just felt so tired. And before leaving the trip, I was like, do you happen to have a pregnancy test? I just feel a little bit off. I don't know what's wrong with me. Lo and behold, I found out that I was pregnant. And I am about to enter my 40th year this year. I'm about to enter my 40s this year. So I'm also just at a stage where I vehemently feel like what is for me is for me. And so if the universe conspired so that I am to be blessed with a 3rd child, I have 2 already, I was like, all right, bet, I'm game. I absolutely love my children. They are my everything. And I'm excited for whatever this new chapter is to bring. Now, did I question the timing of it? Of course. But I was also like, you know what? I am at this stage where, again, by societal norms, I would be considered geriatric pregnancy because I'm over 35. And so I was just allowing my body to do what it did. I was pregnant. I was happy. But I was also really going through it in that first trimester. I think that first trimester was really rough compared to my previous pregnancies. Definitely my first was just so easy peasy. I felt so beautiful. Like I was bearing the stomach. It was summertime. I just felt so good. And then all my pregnancies thereafter were like, so I was just at a stage where I was just like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to do anything that exceeds me. And if my space is to be on that couch, then I'm going to just own that couch. So I was just really unapologetic about having the capacity, and YouTube, unfortunately, I didn't have the capacity for you right during that time. But I was saying the second thing is that it also coincided with me feeling like, oh, I wanted my videos to look a different way. And while I'm still sort of mulling over aesthetically what that sort of looks like, I was sort of in my head a little bit more, and I was sort of at a point where like, okay, how am I really making these videos myself? And that point of interrogation, because I didn't have any answers, I was sort of like, okay, well, maybe this break from YouTube is actually at the opportune time. Now, Unfortunately, what happened is I suffered a miscarriage. So, that was a devastating time. That was very traumatic. That was the second miscarriage that had in the last 2 years. And I'm talking openly about it because I do feel like, especially as CEOs and founders who are women, or you may be a woman at a certain stage in your life where you are interested in also having a family as well and trying to balance both things of a business and having a family. I mean, I think these are realities that we need to be able to talk about. And I think it's something like 1 in 4 women suffer from a miscarriage. So that I'm pointing that out to say that it's a common occurrence, and I wish there was more discussion about something like that. And I think that conversation specifically, as it also relates to like your ability to function and run a business, I think that's still really important. I don't know, men don't have to deal with that in the same way. And so when you're a CEO and you're a founder and you still have to be able to push through and keep going when physically your hormones are completely out of whack, but then also mentally you're sort of like making sense of why that the whole situation happened. I think it was a really rough time for me. And I think I said this, but prior to suffering the miscarriage, I had been prior to the pregnancy, I had been training for my first half marathon. And obviously during the pregnancy, like I said, I was on that couch. I did not get up. I did not do a single run. I was just, once I figured I was pregnant, I was like, oh, all right, bet. Give me my chips. How do I say this? Essentially, it felt like during the loss, my body had failed me. And by forcing myself to do this run, I was challenging my body. I was trying to see if she was going to show up for me. And I'm talking of my body as if I'm other than, but in many ways it did feel like it was failing. It was like, oh, okay, this is the second miscarriage. My body's not able to bring a child to term anymore at the current stage of life that I'm in. Will I be able to fulfill this run? Will it fail me as well? And so that was sort of a little challenge that allowed me to sort of get outside of and cope with the loss, just pushing myself and practicing regularly and putting the hours in to really train. I think that really actually helped me get out of the somber reality of the loss. And I'm really proud to say that I finished my first half marathon, 2 hours, 17 minutes. I think it was end of October, mid-October. So that was definitely a very, very proud, emotional moment for me. One of the things about running and entrepreneurship, because I really do feel like running makes me a better entrepreneur. And the reason being, there's a physical element to it. So you do push your body in so many ways, but really it's the mental aspect of it. There comes a point in time, I mean, at the onset of running, it just sucks. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It just doesn't feel great. You just feel drained and you're just like, ugh, why am I even doing this thing? But there's this, you have to be able to overcome the little voices, and you have to be you have to be like really determined and persistent mentally. And I think that mental fortitude is what you're prepping. You're working out, yes, physically, but you're really working on your mental. And I think that then translates into your abilities as a founder and as a CEO, because it's like, if I could get out and I can do that hour-and-a-half long run, then I can definitely go out and figure out whatever obstacles I might be facing in my business. So I just feel like it's such a great sort of hobby that really fuels me as an entrepreneur. And I'm signing up. I have signed up for my second half marathon this year. Now, granted, it's cold outside, so we haven't started, but I'm going to do that run too. I'm going to make it happen as well. What else happened? Throughout, I was still running Soft Up Shop. The hurricane happened. Hurricane Melissa occurred in Jamaica, which devastated many parts of the island. And I remember as it was happening, I don't know, I just felt so devastated, and I just kept asking myself, how could I show up? What are ways that my business, again, we're steeped in Caribbean culture. What are the ways that we can show up and we can do more for the island that really is so integral to who we are, and who means so much to us. And so, it was an exercise of getting out of your head. But I cast that aside, and then I decided to use some of my initial designs and design a mug specifically for the purpose of fundraising. This mug okay, so this is called the Good Morning mug. So it features, we have Milo and Ovaltine, ackee and saltfish, and fried dumpling. Plantain is right there, callaloo and banana, and then some cornmeal porridge, right? So some classic breakfast, Caribbean breakfast foods, okay? This as a way to raise funds for the specific organization was Food for the Poor Jamaica. And I think I kept it open for 3 weeks, and then we accumulated a total of $1,500 that was raised for Food for the Poor Jamaica. And I was elated. I was really, really happy and proud to see that us, such a small company, we were able to contribute in a meaningful way. And I think it's unfortunate that something so horrible needs to happen for sometimes us to open our eyes to things. But it definitely made me think about different ways that I want to engage as just an organization, a company. What are different ways that we can sort of galvanize and continue to raise money for causes that are really near and dear to us. So specifically, I'm thinking about ways to give back to whether it's youth, whether it's specifically Jamaican or Caribbean communities or organizations. It just opened my eyes to how much more I actually want to do in our capacity. That still falls within our capacity. Just reiterating that anything is possible, really and truly. So I was really proud of that, and it felt nerve-wracking at the time, because at the time I was trying to focus on a product launch, and I wasn't sure how to sort of pivot at the moment, but ultimately I stuck to my guns, and really it was about raising money and trying to figure out how we can help. And again, that was just sort of reiterating to me that idea of trusting your gut. What is right, what needs to be done. And I don't know, I just think that sometimes there is going to be doubt, and being able to trust your gut even in business is so integral and important. So that's what happened in November. And then December, we did a product launch where we did some greeting cards, some holiday greeting cards. And because I had my first time launching the greeting cards, was it last year or the year before? Because I had some experience launching greeting cards, I sort of knew what to expect. But that said, if I'm completely honest with myself, I knew that I should have launched my greeting cards well in advance. I should have been doing that marketing and that work by the end of October. The cards should have been ready, the marketing should have been ready, etc. But again, when it's just a one person running the whole small business, I'm also still stepping back, allowing myself some kindness, recognizing, the heavy end of year that I had. I'm treating myself with kindness, but it's also just sort of plotting and planning as we are in 2026, right? just at the end of 2025, I was feeling, even though usually I'm an analog girly through and through. I like to write notes. I like to write lists. I just like handwriting everything. And I'm all about resolutions. I see the value in it. I see how I work towards them. I see how things get accomplished when I write things down. But that said, at the end of 2025, I was just done with it. I was sort of like, I'm over optimizing. At what point am I going to be like, you know what, I'm good with this version of me? She's done okay. I'm glad that she's where she is. That doesn't mean that I don't have imperfections. That doesn't mean I don't have things that I want to accomplish. But I just felt like, you know what, at what point are we done optimizing? And that's not to say that I didn't have things that I wanted to accomplish or things that I wanted to write down. Like not last year, the year before, I did a whole bingo card, and that was fun to do. You know, I had new things that I wanted to write down. I think ultimately, I just wanted to be able to do it on my own term. I wanted to do it on my own terms without the push from anybody exterior, ultimately. So, you know, at the end of the year, I didn't do anything. I was just chilling. January was slow. And I was allowing myself to just sit in that slowness. And I think that is really, really important, because I feel like there's constant noise about like how to be better, how to do better, how to optimize, how to right? By sitting in my slowness, I was able to allow myself the time to be ready. And I feel like now I'm ready, you know? Now it's go time. Whatever date, today's February 24th. Now it's go time. Now I'm ready to do all the things that I need to do. Now I got my, sleeves rolled up, and just really excited for what 2026 is to bring. I feel like now I feel ready to tackle on the laundry list of things that I do want to accomplish for my brand. One of the things that we actually did, we got invited to do a corporate event, and that was even interesting. You know, at first I was sort of like not entirely sure if it was something that I was wanting to do, because I feel like while I am interested in doing markets, I see the value in it. Some can really be profitable and a great way to introduce your brand to a new audience. They can also be really, really exhausting. I think when you actually do the math and you calculate how much time and effort has gone into the hours putting everything together, not even just being present at the event, but just before the event, all the prepping, all the carrying, all the like setting everything up. There's just like so much effort that goes into it, and valuing your time. I think that's the thing. It's recognizing time is the real currency, and time is the real thing that we need to sort of hold on to. And so for me with these markets, I'm sort of trying to be really intentional about the ones that I select. So I ended up doing this one, and I think the interesting thing that came out of it was there were two sessions. There was a morning session with staff, and there was another session with community. And I thought that the community session, because it's usually my audience, I really thought that was going to be more successful than the moments with the staff. And so it was so interesting when all is said and done and you're doing the accounting to realize that actually the staff engaged and purchased more. And so I think it's like a question of trying to analyze who is my target audience. You know, I thought I had this idea of who it is, especially now that it's been so many years. I've had so many real interesting dialogues with people. But then when you look at the numbers, you know, there's also new information that it presents to you. And so I think that allows me to be humble and allows me to sort of like think back on like who are the people that I am actually engaging in, and who are the people who are, most passionate and engaged with us, and again, spreading the word about who we are and making regular purchases from us, right? Are we creating enough that they want to continue to come back to us and purchase from us? Just, there's a lot of questions about how I'm going to lead the brand this year that I'm really excited to talk about and, like, I don't know, mull over. So again, thank you for all the people who reached out, sent messages, let me know that y'all were thinking about me, y'all were missing me. I appreciate it so much. I want to hear from you. I know last year was an interesting one, especially for those of us that might be small businesses in Canada who were affected by the tariffs, for example. You know, it was a rough year last year. And so I'm really curious to hear how you guys are doing so far, how you guys are feeling. And now that I feel rested, now that I feel like I'm doing this on my own terms, I'm excited to be here again and just be open and transparent about this process, because again, this is a process. This is long. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But like I said, finding the different tools to help strengthen your mental so that you can face obstacles and face obstacles quickly. I think that's the thing about being an entrepreneur, is being able to make decisions, be decisive, and when there are issues that arise, how do you react and address them quickly so that you can move on to the next thing, because that's really how you're going to grow and how you're going to continue to expand. Anyways, that's all for me. Thank you so much for being back here. I'm sorry that I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous. This feels so... Although I had been doing this for a minute, it feels nerve-wracking to sort of be back in front of the camera again. I'm just like, oh, I wonder what questions people have for me. Will they even remember where I was at? Wait, let me... When I say that I want the small businesses to win, I mean it. I want us to win. When I see all the corruption, all the capitalism that is literally taking over the world, it's so important that we share what we know in order to help us be successful. And so literally that is what my channel is about. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to see us win. Okay. Anyways, that's all, guys. I'm going to be back on a weekly basis. Hold me to the fire. Literally tell me, y'all better keep me accountable. Y'all help me. Y'all help keep me accountable, because this is important. It's important for us. Anyways, like, subscribe, follow, do all the things.